Do we truly have the right to dream? What drives our hunger to dream? I come from a long line of generations of women who had been denied their right to an education, their right to a dream. Born and bred in a small rural village, in a country that was known as Rhodesia. By the time I was 18, I was a mother to 4 children. And one of the babies died as an infant because I failed to produce enough milk. I was a child myself. I was just following this pathway that generations of women before me had followed. I always think about my great-grandmother when I tell this story of my dreams. I would always think of her born into poverty and born in a relay that she never defined. And I'm going to call that the relay of poverty, but she is carrying this baton, and I'm going to call it the baton of illiteracy. She's running with this baton, my great-grandmother, the baton of illiteracy, the baton of oppression, the baton of poverty, the baton of a colonial system that never respected her, the baton of early marriages. And she's running. She hands over this baton to my grandmother. My grandmother grabs this baton of illiteracy, the baton of early marriage. She runs and she hands over this baton to my mother. My mother grabs this baton of poverty. She runs with this baton in this relay that she never defined, the baton of illiteracy, the baton of having too many babies before she could define her own dreams. And she hands that baton to me. I said, wait a minute. I dropped that baton and I said, this is not my baton. This is not my race. I'm not going to hand over this baton to the next generation. I had a dream. Then my country became independent. The opportunities were wide. And I met a woman who made me believe in my dreams by just looking at me and asked me one question that no one had asked me. Her name was Jolak. She said, what are your dreams? No one had asked me that question. And when I opened my mouth, I said, I want to go to America. I want to have an undergraduate degree. I want to have a master's. I want to have a PhD. I didn't have a high school education. The women around me looked at me. I was silent. Jolak looked at me and said, if you believe in these dreams, they are achievable. I ran to my mother and I wrote down my dreams, my 4 dreams. And I was ready to plant these dreams because I come from a culture where when a child is born, the elders of the village, they would surround that infant and they would take a small piece of cloth from the mother's dress. They would tear it up. They cut the umbilical cord and wrap it around the cloth and bury the umbilical cord, plant it with the belief that when this child grows, wherever they go, whatever happens to them, the umbilical cord will always remind them of their birthplace. So I was ready to go and plant my dreams so I could see them grow and grow. And my dreams will always remind me why I had written those dreams. My mother asked me, Tererai, can you read back your dreams? And there were just 4: to go to America, to earn an undergraduate degree, to earn a master's, to earn a PhD. My mother said, Terera, I want you to listen to this. Your dreams in this life, they will have greater meaning when they are tied to the greater good. I would end up writing my number 5 dream. When I'm done, I want to come back to my community and improve the lives of women and girls so they don't have to go through what I had gone through. I want to give them education. I want to change the trajectory of their life the way I will do myself. It would take me 8 years to complete my GED. When I buried those dreams, I knew I was on a journey to change my life. I knew I had been inspired to dream big. I had shared my story. It would take me 20 years from the day that I planted those dreams to the day I walked that podium to receive my PhD. 20 years of never giving up, 20 years of struggling, but I knew I had a dream to change the trajectory of my life and those of my community. And once I had my PhD and I began to think of my mother's words, your dreams will have greater meaning when they are tied to the greater good. I had no idea how I was going to fulfill that 5th dream. But I knew I would only find joy and happiness by giving back to others. When we dream for the greater good. I started designing my own T-shirts, and I said, I'm going to sell these T-shirts, and I'm going to sell millions and go back and build schools and change the lives of women and girls in my community. I only sold 20 T-shirts, and mostly to my friends. I was devastated. Then one day I got a phone call, the most memorable call of my life, the call from Oprah Winfrey. And she donated $1.5 million towards that 5th dream. And I knew my mother was right. My mother realized that even though I had been passed down these wounds, this baton, this ugly baton, the illiteracy, but in the passing down of that, there is also the passing down of wisdom. My mother knew sometimes it's not only about our education, sometimes it's not only about our personal goals, it's not only about our financial goals, sometimes it has to be about how we connect our personal goals and how we connect our education to the greater good. And now, in partnership with Oprah Winfrey, through my foundation, today I have managed to rebuild 11 schools going on to 12 schools. We have educated more than 40,000 kids that have gone through our education system. 19,000 of those students are girls, and they are sitting in large numbers. We have over 30 students who are now attending university. I come from a community where for more than 60 years, as far as I can remember, nobody had gone to university. Now we have these girls going to university. They are never going to be handed this ugly baton, the baton of early marriage, the baton of illiteracy. Never. We even have one student who is attending a university in Algeria doing medicine. And in that process of rebuilding our schools, Rotary Club Salinas of Salinas, and thank goodness to Rotary International, they gave us a grant. And now we have a school that is feeding 1,900 kids with breakfast and lunch. And thank goodness to that partnership. They recognized our hunger. And I always talk about two hungers, and I think Rotary International, you have one hunger, the hunger to do good in the world. While writing down my dreams gave me strength to right the wrongs of my past, the wisdom to bury and plant these dreams was a reminder of the power of the earth and its connection to my umbilical cord, and of the power of my spiritual connection to something bigger than I am. And let me leave you with one saying: I am because we are. Since we are, therefore, I am. I stand on the shoulders of giants. I stand on the shoulders of Rotary International. I cannot take granted for the things that have happened in my life, because I know Rotarians around the world, you have rallied behind our dreams. The Native Americans, they have said something that have always stuck with me. Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to this web, we do it ourselves. All things are bound together. All things are connected. Our very survival is connected to the survival of others. Let's dream, and we can do it. Thank you.